All right, welcome back to the caster booth. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Monodramatic World Stage as the curtains open. My name is Gami Kriela, and joining me for this matchup is gonna be William. William, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good on this fine day. I think we've got a pretty good matchup here. The seating is not too close, but any thoughts on that?
I mean, I think there is potential. I think there is potential for this match to be. I mean, seeding really doesn't matter at all, right?
That's
We just
true.
saw Stella lose to Adeline. I believe Stella was seed 7, losing to all like a player in the 50 seat. So, I mean, with how funky the HP gimmick of this tournament is, like high key, I could definitely see some crazy points being taken. Like there is definitely potential for just somebody's score to instantly be deleted because of a few stray crits here and there. And this is a tournament that really favors, large score differences, maps where it's very polarizing. So I mean, at the end of the day, this is my second match casting this, and I believe your first match casting this sort of gimmick. So I'm just excited to see how it goes, see what kind of, interesting dynamics we'll be able to see.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I mean, yeah, just if you get those massive critical hits on your opponent, the match can swing very, very easily. And I think that is going to be fairly pronounced in this match. Like, if you look at the qualifier statistics, there's quite a few very, very large score differences there. You look at the Nomad 1, the Hard Rock 1, the GT3 especially. I'm looking at those sorts of skill sets to be very, very good picks, though maybe not as pronounced at this lower SR. We are going to be getting into the bans right now, and it looks like Shinkiro is going with the GT2 ban, getting rid of that speed. Very, very common tactic at this. And then AlexBelea going with the No Mod 5 gimmick ban. I think these are pretty expected things you want to ban, especially with the HP gimmick, because, those things can be very, very critical. And you just want to get rid of as many of those polarizing maps as possible, right?
Yeah, we're gonna take a quick intermission from the stream, but as you mentioned, William, right? DT2 is really one of those maps. I think we saw in our previous matchup with Stella, where it's very easy to just lose a lead. I think it wasn't DT2 in that matchup. It was DT1, I believe. And it was just really easy to lose a lot of HP because of how volatile the DT slots naturally are. You can gain score very, very quickly. And on the flip side, No Mod 5 is a very polarizing map, one of the more polarizing maps that we were talking about before. It's really easy to, if you're not confident on that reading, you just boom, and you instantly go down. That's a minus 350k. But we are going to kickstart this matchup, though, with a very interesting map. William, would you like to talk about this?
This Hard Rock 3 pick, the tech Hard Rock 3 of the pool. And, I think this is a very, very expected pick coming out of Shinkiro. He got a 650k score on the qualifiers Hard Rock 1, which was the tech Hard Rock of that pool. And so it's very, very expected to see him pick this as the first pick, especially given, AlexBelea doesn't seem to be the most solid on these sorts of control skill sets. You saw him neutralize that No Mod 4 there, and this No Mod 4 taken straight from 6WC actually as a No Mod 4 for their finals pool, but it's coming to MWS here right now. All too late, mapped by Fairinvox. Very, very testing of that slider aim. Not too much control, but on the Hard Rock, the smaller CS can definitely trip you up in some places. But with that, we're going to be getting into All Too Late by Road.
Yep, that's right. It was a custom map by Vox and Fairy, two very well-known Canadian tag mappers, and we're going to jump straight into the action. We're going to open with a relatively slow section. A bit of XL, decel, single note jumps. I mean, nothing too crazy, but they are a bit precarious. Very easy to, blink once and find that miss. But it's going to be early days. A lot to be desired moving forward in this match.
And yeah, this section is really, really where you want to build up that combo, right? It is very, very tame compared to the rest of the map, but don't let that fool you, right? It still is very easy to find that miss if you are very uncomfortable. But both players are actually holding quite strong here as we get into the build-up section. But we're building up to that first key, and this is where really the meat of the map shines.
Here we go, full thrust into that first KI. The sliders start to kick in, and both players are still cruising through. We are neck and neck, no one really giving an inch in combo or accuracy. It's still tight. It's still very, very tight, and you know, we're getting this map features a lot of weird control patterns, but on the hard roll, I mean, these players seem to be coping very, very well with it. We're moving into the second half of the KI, and oh my goodness, AlexBelea almost finds the miss on those slider ticks, but is still maintaining maintaining that combo. And we're moving into the second half, and really nothing is changing.
Absolutely not. Both players still look so solid on this Hard Rock 3, neither of them wanting to give an inch. It is really just Shinkiro with the slight accuracy advantage as we get into the second KI here. Both players just looking so solid, hitting all of these sliders with extreme accuracy and just unbelievable from both of them here.
Yeah, this really isn't a crazy control tag map. At least not the craziest tag map that we're gonna see in this pool. I give that award to No Mod 4 because, you know, this map more so leans on the control aspect. And as you're moving into sort of a build down, both players are gonna be rewarded with a bit of, you know, free combo, about 200 combo to their name. Right now, Shinkiro is pulling ahead with that accuracy lead, a 2% accuracy lead just across that first KI, just managing to hold out more slider ends, just get slightly better accuracy, and going into this next KI, it's going to give them a very solid footing as we move into that last quarter.
Yeah, both players still holding that FC here. Any break here could be absolutely devastating because, you know, if the other player manages to hold, that could be an absolutely critical hit right there. But both of them still managing to hold strong here as we get into the last section of the map. I mean, it looks like Alex actually having some technical difficulties there. That is incredibly unfortunate there. Not too sure what happened there, but that is going to give Shinkiro the break he needs and allowing him to deal a pretty significant attack, all things considered.
Yeah, I think AlexBelea flailed his cursor, not remembering that, you know, score difference actually matters in this tournament. And with the map coming to a tail end, Shinkiro is gonna start off this matchup almost. And no, he hits that critical margin. That's a maximum attack, 350k, to start out the match on All Too Late by Road. That's why, you know, you don't want to drop your guard. Well, even if you miss, you gotta hold out. These score leads are so important during this matchup. And you cannot afford to give your opponent the score lead. Even if you lose the point, you have to keep playing. My screen just turned off mid-map. Oh my goodness. God. That's just unlucky there.
No, that is really unlucky. Both players were holding so strong there, and I think it was really just that unfortunate technical difficulty that gave Alex that, you know, miss, right? And allowing Shinkiro to get that critical hit, which is really bad this early on into the match, right? But we'll just have to carry on, unfortunately.
Yep. I believe we are, you know, back at the map pick screen, and AlexBelea needs something to respond. I think starting this match off on the back foot, having sustained such a big attack is really gonna put your HP bar at a much more volatile state. We are gonna see the DT3, however, Shinkiro going for the DT2 ban, so going into this DT3 definitely makes a lot of sense, albeit I think this map is more focused on that finger control, a few weird patterns here and there as well. The BPM nowhere hits as close to the DT2's 270 BPM, but where this map lacks in, you know, raw speed test, the 210 BPM finger control is definitely more pronounced, and it might trip out some of these players. We saw in the previous match, I saw in the previous match where I casted that, you know, DT really is one of those skill sets where a single miss, no matter the accuracy, is going to cause you to take a big hit to your HP bar. So I mean, Will, any last thoughts before we jump straight into it?
I mean, yeah, especially with DT being, you know, with the 1.12 multiplier is going to be, 1.2 multiplier, is going to be one of those higher scoring maps in general. So, you know, if you find a brick anywhere, and your opponent manages to hold that combo, then this can be a very, very devastating attack, right? So, you know, especially at this SR where both players are probably not going to be as mechanics gapped compared to like the qualifiers map pool, you know, I think we're going to be seeing some potential massive recovery here from AlexBelea if he manages to hold that combo. But we'll just have to hope he doesn't find any more technical difficulties as we get into Zanjamari, the DT3 here.
That's right. The players are slowly beginning to warm up to the 2-time BPM of this map. And instantly you get to see a taste of what this map is all about. It's gonna be all about those finger controls, these 3-note bursts into single note circles. And we are going to open up with a bit of a slow section right after that appetizer. But, you know, there's a lot more where the appetizer came from.
Absolutely. This map is not super long at all, so any miss here can be absolutely devastating, and it looks like AlexBelea is going to take this early lead with a pretty solid accuracy lead, but we're going to get into this first guy here. We see those 5-note bursts with the flow aim element as well. Both players still holding very, very strong here as we get into the next third of the map.
Yep, AlexBelea going to exercise a slight, you know, triumph over that comfort. Getting a 1% accuracy lead, by no means substantial. I mean, Osu is a combo game, and this map definitely favors the combo. So as it stands right now, we're still going to be at a stalemate. We're moving into the next KI, the second half of the map. The doubles start to kick in, the 5-note bursts begin to kick in. And as it stands, I mean, everybody is holding on, not giving an inch to either side, and I think we're gonna see a repeat of that Hard Rock 3 where it is towards the end. We see that miss. Never mind, however, Shinkiro is gonna find that miss, and now you see AlexBelea score skyrocketing towards the right side. The scoreboard opens, and Alex knows that now is his opportunity to shoot back.
I mean, that is a very unfortunate miss for Shinkiro. They're right in the mid, like right at the 2/3 mark, which is going to allow AlexBelea to potentially turn this into a critical attack. There's still plenty of score to be gained from his side with that 99% accuracy. FC still holding strong, and you know, I think he may just be able to do it. That score lead still climbing in his favor, almost up to that critical 350k map into the ending of this map, and he's just going to respond right back with a critical attack of his own.
That's right, hitting past the crit threshold, and you know, Woam, I mean, both players immediately shooting back with their golden bullet. Both of them dropped to 450k, and now suddenly the playing field is even. We're going 1-to-1, 450k to 450k HP each. And now, I mean, at least points-wise, we're not in the mid-game, but looking at the HPs, I mean, it tells a different story. So we're gonna see what Shinkiro goes next. You know, I'm looking at... Oh my goodness, Shinkiro went for the Hard Rock 3, right? Perhaps they go and play around that tech ballpark. I know the No Mod 4 is 5 minutes long, so if he wants to sort of dwell on the tech consistency, he definitely has that option. But we in fact see Shinkiro going for the PS3 instead. Well, tell us a bit about this map.
I mean, yeah, you mentioned the No Mod 4, but I think given that Alex neutralized that, and also given it is a long map, I don't think there's much room for a critical attack to be done there. Meanwhile, you know, both these players are actually on this PS3 path, so this map, you know, sort of plays into Shinkiro's sort of like tech alt sort of favoritism here, and I think, you know, it's a very, very control heavy, aim control heavy. Also has some rhythm elements to it. Very, very weird map. And I think, you know, definitely favors Shinkiro here. So I think we're going to be seeing potentially devastating attack, honestly, on a map like this. But we've seen just how volatile these maps are at this SR. So just have to wait and see.
Yeah, and I do believe that this is both players' path. I believe both of them chose the path of silence. So 1.3k score multiplier gonna be basically neutralized throughout this entire matchup. But without further ado, we're gonna jump straight into the action. This map is all about that polyrhythm, all about that flow aim control. And, you know, we're already seeing some accuracy tank. AlexBelea getting the shot on the stick. As you go into, you know, as the players start to warm up towards the weird density reading patterns of the flow aim. Oh my goodness, AlexBelea gonna be the first one to find the miss, and that's gonna give Shinkiro some leg room to breathe. But we're gonna move into a slower section before it's, full thrust back into more intense flow aim.
And Alex actually finds another break there. Shinkiro is still holding very, very strong here, hitting all of these very, very tricky wiggly patterns. Just Alex keeps on finding breaks actually with the accuracy lead doing a lot of damage here. That could potentially turn this into a very, very massive attack here, bringing him down all the way to 100k HP. They're really not good for him. And Shinkiro is still holding that FC very, very strong here, all the way up to 98% accuracy almost. Very, very strong performance there.
Yep, I believe, the PS3s are mainly the ones that test your consistency on unique tournament gimmicks, and I mean, Shinkiro is just exercising that consistency way above AlexBelea's comfort. As we move into that second half of the map, Shinkiro has already amassed a massive 200k score lead over AlexBelea, and he's looking to take this map all the way.
Just Alex just unable to find any sort of comfort on this map, constantly finding those breaks as well. And Shinkiro just looks absolutely solid on this. I think he's done more than enough to secure that critical score lead. He's still holding that FC into this last quarter of the map, and Alex just unfortunately keeps finding those breaks. It's just very, very unfortunate for him. And, Shinkiro just pulling away here, finally finds that break, but I think he's done more than enough, especially with that 1.3 score multiplier from that pillar.
Yep, he is milking as much as he can from this PS3 pick, getting the point on the board, getting the maximum attack, and now AlexBelea is at 100k HP, and that's really the volatility of that is really the volatility of the HP mechanic, right? It's not just about points now. It's about the distance between the score difference between the two players on each and every one of those points. Now these massive leads actually count for something. And I mean, AlexBelea is now on thin ice with that 100k HP left. He cannot afford to take any more damage.
Absolutely, yeah. We're only 3 maps in, and it's already looking very, very dire for AlexBelea just because he got dealt those 2 critical attacks. But, he has the chance to respond right now with his own pick, potentially dealing that attack right back. So we'll just have to see what he goes for. I think we might see something like that No More 2, even though it did get neutralized because, it plays into that sort of tapping skill set, which Alex seems to be very, very wanting to pick into. But,
Yep.
Oh, and it does look like we do see that No More 2 pick.
Yeah, good eye, Will. I think this No More 2 makes a lot of sense. AlexBelea completely decimated at DT3, and so this No More 2 just seems like a no-brainer. This No More 2 needs no introduction. It's a classic Osu song. I believe everybody knows Imperial Dead Circus Decadence. It is a 3-minute, 52-second long war of attrition. 200 BPM streams are littered throughout this entire map. During the KIs, of course, the flowing becomes more intense, but across the board, the stamina drain is going to be the main point of contention. However, I'd like to mention that given this slightly lower SR, do you really think that these players would get capped based off what we saw from that DT3?
I mean, no, both players looked very, very comfortable on that DT3, right? And it was a very, very similar BPM. It was really just Shinkiro finding that unfortunate miss, which, allowed Alex to take that critical attack. But, this map, definitely with the longer bursts, you see a lot more of those 9-note bursts.
True.
And it's definitely more focused on the, raw tapping element, even if it isn't as speedy compared to, say, the DT2.
Oh.
This map really attests to that consistency, right? It is 4 minutes long, and, it's just going to be about who can hold those longer combos, right? I think we're expecting Alex to do very, very well here, but we're still very, very early stage of the map. Shinkiro actually finding a very early miss there, but we're still very, very early on.
That's right, Shinkiro. I mean, he mentioned before in that DT3 that the low SR maps are really not his cup of tea. He cannot hold that consistent combo. And as it stands right now, AlexBelea are gonna open up this map with a very comfy 200 combo lead over Shinkiro. Both players basically matching the accuracy, but that's not gonna matter. The real test of stamina is gonna come right here. The bursts are starting to kick in. And right now, I mean, we can only wait as the players instantly hit that first KI. The 9-0 burst start to fill the screen, and this is just gonna give AlexBelea more and more combo to work with. You know, as it stands right now, the 200 score lead really doing them favors in perpetuating the score lead more and more in favor of the right side, especially given that accuracy differential becoming larger and larger as AlexBelea rebuilding the accuracy to a massive 98%. Meanwhile, Shinkiro is still hovering around that 96%, and we're moving into a more flowing heavy section, which might be where we begin to see more misses.
Shinkiro finding that nice recovery there, seemed to struggle a bit at the beginning, but seems to have found his footing now as we get into the next of the map. But this is the critical moment, right? Alex really needs to hold through these long sections of the map.
Oh,
but
that's
he
bad.
finds that break. That is not good actually for the side of Alex there. Shinkiro has the combo now. He can easily take this only 64k lead back.
That's right, and it's not gonna help that we're in a more calm section. The tapping, it really is not the most flow intensive. I mean, stamina-wise, both players have shown that they're able to comfortably hit it, albeit with Shinkiro doing so with a little bit less accuracy. But, I mean, the combo game is just playing right now. We're moving to the second half of the map, and Shinkiro, with that 1k combo and counting, is looking to perpetuate the score lead. Both players see the scoreline, and AlexBelea feels the nerves. And mind you, AlexBelea cannot afford to take another hit with that 100k HP. He's on red.
I mean, yeah, this is where Alex, wanted to dish out that critical attack, right? He's being dished out 2 of his own by Shinkiro, but Shinkiro now is the one in the driver's seat. Bringing that only 20k score lead back, has that very significant combo advantage, and if he's able to hold through this attack, it may just be game over for Shinkiro there. But we're getting into the build up section. This is where the breaks start happening. The streams get much longer, and if Shinkiro finds that break, Alex could very, very easily take that right back. We see the streams, both of them very comfortable here. The scoreboard opens, Shinkiro sees that he has the score lead, and Alex knows that he just has to hope for that break to come out.
Yeah, that's right. We're gonna race all the way into this last quarter of the map. There is still time for Shinkiro to find that miss, and Alex has a very nice accuracy. It's just a shame he doesn't have the combo to back it up. As we race into the longer streams of the map, the most space streams of the map, time is running out for Shinkiro to find this miss, and the window of opportunity is getting smaller and smaller for AlexBelea to come back. Seems as though those early misses from Shinkiro really were just tactical misses, as they are on a complete onslaught, not giving Alex any room to breathe whatsoever. And I think if Shinkiro is able to hold to the very end, which I think he will, as there's not enough density left for Shinkiro to find the miss, that will be curtains, lights out for AlexBelea.
Oh my goodness, just very, very unfortunate there for Alex, being dished 2 critical attacks and then just barely losing out on this no more 2 here. Just incredibly unfortunate. And you mentioned how volatile. We mentioned how volatile these matches can be, especially with the HP gimmick, and just Alex is unfortunately falling victim to those attacks. But it will be Shinkiro moving on in the winner's bracket to the round of 34 and taking this victory.
Yep, a very quick victory for Shinkiro indeed. It's unfortunate that AlexBelea will be going down to the losers bracket so quickly, but I mean, tomorrow we have a whole host of matches lined up for you. I believe 10 or so matches. Hopefully they'll get streamed. In fact, I think Layla is carrying 4 of them, basically half of the matches. Our closest stream match currently on the sheet is going to be at 18 UTC Saturday, but I do believe our closest match is going to be Saturday 13. This is going to be Twenty versus Evert, so do stick around, take a look at the match results. Hope that there's a stream. Hopefully you can get more streams going on tomorrow or later during the weekend, but it is going to be what it is. So if you are interested, do stick around, drop us a follow, if you want to keep up the times with what we have presented to you at the Monodramatic World Stage. But I think with that, William, do you have any last words for the stream?
Not really, no. I'm just excited to see what this weekend has to offer, given how, how volatile these matches can be. We've seen it already, that Stella upset, and I think we may just end up seeing more of those as the weekend progresses. So very looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's right. But with that, once again, huge shout outs to, everybody involved in the production of this match. It's gonna be Reti, who was our streamer, and Jersey, who was our referee, taking over the Hunter one at short notice. You love to see it. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, my name has been Gavin Kurilla, his name has been William. You have been watching the Monodramatic World Stage, and that's gonna be curtains closed. Goodbye.